A wild turn away from the truth. That's how Den of Geek described the new movie Gran Turismo. And after sitting down in a theatre and watching for myself, I definitely agree with them. This was a film that promised to be all the things we love about motorsports, about the world of sim racing, rolled into a fantastic cinematic package. And it just wasn't. So today we're going to break down as much as we can about what the film got so horribly wrong, and try and correct the course before we veer any further from real racing history into sparkly Hollywood fantasy land. Entering the theatre, I was feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. I'm somebody who loves Gran Turismo, who loves racing, who loves movies about racing. In my household, my fiancé and I regularly yell Ford versus Ferrari lines at each other for no reason. So in theory, the next 2 hours and 15 minutes of my life should have been incredible. Now in the interest of fairness, viewing this film in Super Screen 4DX was a great decision. It created a great immersive atmosphere, and I'd like to thank Cineworld for providing us with the access. And the film does a great job of exhibiting the globe-trotting lifestyle we've all imagined ourselves having as racing drivers. But that's about it. First of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The whole based on a true story thing. That much is true. Jan Mardenborough is a real racing driver who got their start playing video games. And their father did indeed play for Cardiff City. But ignoring that nobody in the film's version of Cardiff has a Welsh accent, or whether Jan was obsessed with exclusively playing Gran Turismo like the film claims, is up for debate. That's where things started to go wrong the first time round. In the crucial must-win race, our hero, Jan Mardenborough, is trying to get into GT Academy, and finds himself in a car far quicker on the straights than the whole field, who are clearly AI and not actual multiplayer racers. But he's also got racing line and braking indicators switched on. And I don't need to tell you guys that these are all prohibited in online racing, and especially at the elite esports level we're talking about here. But let's move beyond tech-twitching gamer talk, because this video would be hours long otherwise. Instead, let's cover some history. The film's big emotional hurdle doesn't come from any generic American sports movie with the am I good enough kind of moment. Despite the film's marketing placing its major focus on Jan's internal struggle as a gamer entering a pro athlete's world, we never really get to see much of that in the film's runtime. Instead, the film throws Jan into a life-endangering crash at the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where he is seriously injured and it is revealed that a spectator has been killed. Jan subsequently wrestles with feelings of guilt surrounding the accident, and his coach, Jack Salter, who was actually well played by David Harbour, must then help him overcome these feelings, getting them healed and back in the car. This is done through the use of a music video sequence of them cruising the ring in a Porsche GT. But what really is the problem here is the fact that in real life this crash happened in 2015, a full 2 years after when the movie is set. But the team involved in script writing see a historical tragedy as a great way of creating an emotional crisis for the protagonist which they have to overcome before the big race. So bosh, here we are. Now I'll leave discussions of motor racing safety and issues of that nature to people far more qualified than myself. But as somebody who works in media, and who has seen the same tragedies that most motor racing fans come to see sooner or later, this seems like a low blow from the film's creative team. And I can only imagine how those who are actually involved feel about this film's reimagining of actual historical events. It's not a good look for the film. And unfortunately, this gets worse, not better, towards the film's climax. Despite the third act being, in my opinion, the film's strongest, with a well-shot take on the 24 Hours of Le Mans, what we're watching isn't really Le Mans at all. Firstly, the track layout seems completely different. Major bits like the Mulsanne Straight are accurate enough, with big on-screen titles to show us as much. But the film's desire to create a thrilling moment of last gasp commitment means that the forward chicanes are gone, replaced by a big spooning final corner before the start-finish straight, creating a Monza-esque duel to the line. The realism breaks down a little here, but it loses all coherency when you start looking at the character battles that take place on the track. The role of antagonist is filled by Nicholas Capper, a fictional rich boy with a temper spurred on by the ex-driver perfectionist father, who tends to get into scraps on track and runs their mouth a lot. Sounding familiar? I thought so. Unfortunately, the real-life equivalent car isn't gold-plated like in the film, but sticking 2 red charging horned cows on the front probably would have been a bit too on the nose. And while the film would have you believe that this was a battle at the pinnacle of motorsport, in real life, the showdown in which Mardenborough competed was in the LMP2 class, and it was in an open-top Zytek car, not a Nissan-badged LMP1 hypercar. Mardenborough activates their super gamer power to find an alternative line through the Circuit de la Sarthe, making up 3 spots in 3 laps, and eating up 4 seconds on 3rd place in 1 corner. Another big leap beyond reality for the film. Now I'm not saying Mardenborough isn't a good driver. They have wins in Super GT, Formula 3 and GP3, but they seem to have a bit of the chosen one superpower in their veins in the film, which breaks the immersion completely if, like me, you know Le Mans both in the game and as a spectator. So ultimately, this 2.25-hour fever dream doesn't quite stick to its own story, or reality, or even do the easy thing and show you how esports actually works. Instead, what you get is Top Gun with cars, and a disappointing will they won't they dynamic between David Harbour and Orlando Bloom. If I was scoring it, it's hitting a 4, maybe a 4.5 out of 10. But since I can't avoid seeing Orlando's constipated looking face jump scaring me every time I log into the game, I guess I'll just have to get used to this movie sticking around for a while. Who's excited for Nikita Mazepin the movie? Nobody? Yeah, me too. If you enjoyed that video, remember to hit like and subscribe before you click away. And if you want to support the channel while also having your say on what content I cover next, please consider donating to the link below. But as always, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, stay safe out on the road, and I'll see you next time.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes it. Lewis Hamilton, champion of the world.
Ewan Kankin, 4 times title holder.